Matt, it seems like almost every day we're seeing some judge making a decision about some element of what Trump's doing with his new policies. I like that some of them are saying, look, you're going too far. Okay, you can't do this, Trump. And I want to challenge that. What's happening, though, when you're looking at the rest of that story, is the American public is going, really? Here you've got a president that we've elected, and we've said we want these policies to take place. And we cast our vote based on the fact that I, as an American, wanted those policies to take place. And the message is that the judiciary is interfering with all that. And it's dangerous for the judiciary, I think, unless they take a close look at how they do this.
It's not a healthy place to be, and it's not a good interaction between the executive branch and the judiciary. I mean, we've kind of seen this, it's not uncommon with Trump, but let's go ahead and take a moment here to pull back and look at the law. Let's pull up the law real quick. The issue here with these deportations, it was called the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Now, it's an 18th century law. It was actually put into effect back when we were concerned about the French, going to war with the French.
Now, has there been any interpretation of it since then?
There is throughout the 20th century, and actually it was used in the War of 1812, it was used during the First World War, and we all know it was used during the Second World War as well. And Woodrow Wilson's executive administration actually put up challenges, and so we have a long history of arguments on this, previous presidents, but none of that, Pat, gets really brought into play here. Instead, we go into this quick discourse that you were just talking about.
Well, okay, so you've got a judge who's at least unilaterally said, I don't believe it applies, turn the airplanes around, bring these folks back to the United States. And Trump just absolutely thumbs his nose at it. And the point is if you look at the reaction from the American public, it is that Trump did the right thing. Now, that's really dangerous.
Oh, yes.
Where it comes to the rule of law in the United States, you've got a federal judge saying, look, I don't know whether I'm right. I'm going to go forward with a temporary injunction. So what you have is a judge who right now he's under attack from every corner, okay? They're digging up his past. They're taking a look at everything the guy's done. They're making it, the American public says this is simply an extension of the Democratic Party. All right? That's where he's placed himself. Now, was that improper for him to do that? If he had a real belief that this particular statute has no application, saying I'm going to enter a temporary injunction, there's no harm in that. But picking their fights is my point to the judiciary. Picking your fights to where the American public doesn't believe the judiciary, lower level courts in the judiciary, are trying to determine what this president does.
Absolutely. And I think there absolutely is a question of constitutionality here, which is, this Wartime Powers Act is a question of, were we at war? Is there an incursion or invasion? And does the president have the authority to use the act under the circumstances at hand? It's a legitimate question. Of course, like you just said, the pressure comes in, though, and whether or not he could even have a moment to breathe to say, listen, if you want to challenge it, go through the appellate process, but I'm making my decision right now until we can make sense of it.
Okay, and he has a right to do that.
Yes,
he has the right to look at this statute and say, it doesn't have application here. We're not under invasion. We're not being... there's some argument that we are, and Trump can make
that's the courts. That's the courts to battle it out with, right? Like
the DOJ can make that argument, But the point is, I guess what scares me just a little bit is every day if you have a federal judge saying to Trump, you can't do this. The American public wanted you to do that, but you can't. You can't do that. The American public wanted you to do that, but you can't do it. What ends up happening is the judiciary really ends up suffering. And if we don't follow the rule of law, we don't have a democracy. That's why I'm saying that these decisions are important. When to pick a fight, when not to pick a fight. You can't have every judge who simply doesn't like Trump saying, no, I'm not going to let you do it. I think it's a really dangerous course.
Well, and we also talked about this. We don't like the idea of these neutral entities getting all of a sudden tugged into this dogfight that we currently have, which is the American political discourse, right? And we've seen it with the FBI. They want no business to be involved in politics, yet here they are time and again. They're dragged into one issue after the next after the next.
Good point. You're saying if we go back and we look at why the FBI is suffering, right?
Yeah, we go back.
Why are they suffering?
Right.
It's because it appeared to the American public that they were playing politics, that they were embracing the Democrats and causing problems for the Republicans. So now look at their credibility. The credibility problem with the FBI is dismal right now. It's below 50% favorability.
And it's terrible. And those guys don't want any business in this politics. I mean, they want to stay out and do their job, but it's like you try to make maybe one side happy or try to avoid a conflict. Look what happened with Comey back in 2016 with that Hillary Clinton report. At the end, both sides went after him for that, and all of a sudden you steamroll. And so we're worried about that with the courts now.
We're seeing the same pattern as what you're saying.
Exactly.
So all we have to do is learn from what happened to the FBI.
Right.
The FBI right now is being disassembled. Okay. Yeah. You're gonna see the FBI scattered. The folks that are in Washington D.C., they're going to end up in Alaska. Mm-hmm. They're going to end up in the middle of nowhere, and that's the way they're going to deal with the FBI. They're going to deconstruct the FBI. The point is with the judiciary, it's too important to our democracy to have what looks like knee-jerk reactions. Because what we're seeing with this judge right now, if you don't believe the Republicans can go back and take a look at his history, mm-hmm. his relationship with the Democratic Party, his involvement with the Russiagate, he was involved with that. Right. He's touching all of these things that the American public is nauseated about. Right. And so he has the right to say, wait, I want to enter a temporary injunction until we can have a full hearing on this. But it can become real dangerous if it's overused.
And well, you know what? And this is what Trump does. The executive branch I really think they're not acting appropriate here because we don't want to circumvent the law to do so. Well, yeah. We just got to ask for patience in that regard. Is it fair to say we could just ask for patience? And of course, I don't think Trump's really done it. He's finger pointing a lot in this instance, and it would be much better for the political discourse if he refrained, maybe for once from doing that.
Well, he could. I mean, the truth is, even if they have due process, I've seen the due process. I mean, these are 15, 20-minute hearings. Yeah. I mean, it's not it's going to, it's almost a rubber stamp. Yeah. Government present this, does this meet this threshold? Well, they're gone. Right. So the due process on something like immigration is such a small threshold. It's not like he can't accomplish what he wants to accomplish. But this judge, again, I come back to the point. Be careful when it starts looking like, well, I'm just doing this because I'm an extension of the Democratic Party. That gets really dangerous, and it really poses a risk to the rule of law because we start doubting the judiciary.
Welcome to the Ring of Fire YouTube channel. I am Farron Cousins, the host of Ring of Fire here on YouTube. I don't know if this is your first time here or maybe you're somebody who comes here every single day, but either way, let me tell you what's going on. Ring of Fire was actually started in the year 2004 by none other than our own America's lawyer, Mike Papantonio. And over the last 20 plus years, Ring of Fire has gone from being a 1-hour weekend radio program on Air America through a series of changes. Go Left TV, which we started back in 2007. We've been on the Young Turks network. And of course, this very YouTube channel here that started obviously as they all do with no subscribers. And we've now ballooned to well over 1 million as we go on our way to that 2 million mark. So again, if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. Take a few minutes, look around. We have content that actually goes back 20 years. So there's lots to see, there's lots to do. And trust me, with the next 4 years of Donald Trump getting back in office, we will be here every day, every single day with fresh content for you to keep you informed about what's happening and, of course, to warn you of the potential dangers that Donald Trump poses as we approach his second term.